Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the pod. Today, I have Rob Howard here with me. Hi, Rob.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Rob is a communication coach, a group facilitator, a conflict mediator, a restorative justice specialist, and a culture inclusion trainer. He has been teaching people how to communicate and connect for over 20 years. I feel like that's like a round of applause. That
I'll take
is,
it. I'll take it. I have sound effects.
say that again.
I said I have sound effects.
Woo-hoo! Yes, I love it. I found Rob on social media and I loved his content because he posts a lot of good questions to ask yourself to get to know yourself a little bit better, to self reflect, good questions to ask if you are in a relationship, and good questions to ask if you are in the dating scene, which I thought was really cool because I think that online dating is real. I mean, that's how majority of the people meet nowadays. But the common thing that I hear that people have challenges with is what do you ask these people when you're getting to know them? Because I think, a lot of profiles are the information provided is very minimal. So it's hard to grab, things to pull from. And hey, how are you? How's your weekend is fine. But I think what we could all agree with that it it creates like a dead end conversation and then things fizzle out. So, Mr. Rob, how did you fall into this communication connection expert?
Nice. Hmm. I think I've always been a communicator. I am an only child, and my imagination is wild. So to feel boredom, I've always enjoyed conversation, even listening to other people's conversations, and then in my mind going, oh, "That was a weird question," or "Oh, I don't know if that's gonna help," or "I don't know if they're gonna like it." Like I was always that. After that, while in college pursuing music, I was starting a record label with some of my super talented friends
Cool.
who have gone on to great musical success, actually. I was working for a nonprofit, and that nonprofit was a human relations nonprofit. So it was based on like anti-oppression work back in the 60s and 70s between Christians and Jews nationwide, and then looking at other aspects of identity. So I learned how to facilitate, I learned how to create programs, I learned how to uh, stand in the front of a room or be in a small group and help other people hear each other. So speaking transparently and vulnerably and listening empathetically is a skill
Yeah.
set that I noticed was important there and was like really learning about. So getting from there to social media, it was one of my best friends was a talented singer. He used to be on American Idol. Shout outs to my guy Mac Royals.
Ew.
I was trying to get him to get on YouTube, trying to get him to get on TikTok because I had heard for years that TikTok was a phenomenal platform at helping build and create a community. And he just was like, yeah, that's cool. Why the hell don't you do this? And I was like, yeah, no, I can't sing. I'm not rapping. I'm not dancing. I'm not going to take my shirt off. What am I going to do like every day? Because you should post every day if you're really, 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 really trying to start and go hard. And he was like, why don't you just do what you just did at the training just now? I was like, communication? Okay. So I started thinking about it. My father passed away on Christmas that year. And then I was like, I'm going to do this. I am going to post every day and just see what happens because I want to leave something hopefully that someone likes and learns from or is helpful and maybe monetize this thing as a side business or side income stream or something. And I just started posting a question a day and slowly and consistently the audience grew and the community grew and there we are.
And then I found you.
You did. When did you find me?
I found you on Instagram and then on TikTok too.
Okay. It was Instagram
The
first.
TikTok.
Yeah, I love the Tiki Takis. Did you find me on Instagram first?
I might have saw you on TikTok first. I
Okay.
can't remember, but I mean, I searched for your Instagram.
I never know. I never know.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was so cool. And I was like, I have to message this person. And thank you to the universe, you opened your messages because you said you
Yeah.
don't open them often.
I don't
Has
often.
has anyone told you you have a very calming voice?
Yes. I think that's one of the most genuine compliments I receive. Uh, yeah. I get that sometimes.
That's awesome. Okay. So I posted um on my Instagram that Mr. Rob Howard would be joining me and for people to send in questions they had for you. So I do have a list, but before we get into that,
People answered?
yeah,
That's
well,
dope that your audience has that. That's so
I mean,
cool.
they're like my friends, so they're like,
Yeah, no, that's dope. Friends are part of the community.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they did send in a few questions, but I mean, you help people communicate. I mean, we'll get into communication in the dating, like romantically, but also I think your skills because you do group facilitation and conflict
Mm-hmm.
mediating. I would imagine you also help people communicate effectively in the workplace.
Yeah, I do a
And
lot of
my
those trainings.
question is, Rob, okay, how do you tell the Karen or the Bob in your workplace that is trying you and trying to speak to you any type of way? And so, how do you tell them, I love Jesus, but I will punch a hoe
Mm-hmm.
professionally
Smack,
as
slap.
Angela, like Angela Johnson? She is my spirit. I will forever quote that woman. But how do
Yeah,
you do that?
that's really good. Um, I talked to HR. um, besides that, though, like, the legality stuff that comes up, through my restorative justice work, I believe in communicating and healing harm. And what I find is, I was just having this conversation earlier today, that privilege is blinding. Not only am I blind to my privileges, but it blinds me to see other things and even the harm that I cause. For example, sexism is a system of oppression. And because it's worked so really well, I don't realize that I'm so privileged because I just happen to be born in this body that I identify as man, cisgendered man, which is a whole nother system. It took someone to teach me about that, right? And some ways that I learn about that and then build empathy and kindness and care for others because of their identity, you being a woman, my daughter, my sisters, my friends, my homegirls, share stories and I'm listening with empathy. Like, dang, that sucks. Dang, have I done that before? I think I've done that before. Not on purpose, but I've done that before. I can only imagine. So, like, that is what my goal is. My goal is in workplace, especially with the Karens, is to get them to hear how they're causing harm. And that's really hard because privilege is also deafening. It's hard to hear because I might put myself in the victim position when I'm actually the offender. So that's the trick. The trick is that there's two tools that I use. One is the stoplight metaphor of red light, yellow light, green light. When something is slightly harmful, like, I don't like that. That's a yellow light. Like, ooh, that's a yellow light, right? And it catches your attention. What do you mean? Oh, because something you said just didn't feel good, right? If it's a red light, that's a complete stop. Ouch, red flag. When I say, oh, red light, I got to stop here. It's an interesting transition to be able to explain with the second tool. The second tool is the I statement formula. I feel blank when someone or when you have just recently blanked. What I need from you is blank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I use those two tools. That's the easiest ones I would use in corporate too.
I like it. I like the red light, yellow light. I never thought of that, but it's really cool.
Yeah,
Um, let's transition into the good questions you have for
yeah,
dating. Um, so I asked you if it was okay if I asked you about your online dating experience.
yeah.
So can we talk about that, especially because you are the guru of questions? Do you even find yourself coming into challenges with engaging people?
Yes and no. I have a million questions that I can ask.
Mhm.
They're floating in my head right now. Depending on the situation and the vibe or the feeling, I can pick and pull from. What I find for me that's challenging is not teaching partners or potential partners. Like, I don't want to be their coach. I don't want to be their teacher. I don't want to be their guru. I want to be in relationship and partnership. Um, Almost like metaphorically, if my partner was a great chef, but they also like food, they're a foodie, I can get really comfortable that they are always cooking for me, but they also need to eat. And it would also be maybe a love language expression to serve them food that I prepared and I thought of and I seasoned with love. So it's the same thing with communication. I can always engage in conversation. I can get you to converse. I can get you to think or reflect or even direct through a question. But not so many partners have had the same skill set and experience and tools readily or confidence to even do it, especially with me being the expert or whatever. So that creates its own communication challenges. Um, yeah, that's the hard part.
What do you think about online dating?
I think online dating is a tool. It's a good and a bad depending on how you use it. It works for some, and some will never get the victory. Um, I think there is an ability to connect with more people than ever in the history of humanity.
Yes.
My great grandparents probably met each other in the same community, and they
Mhm.
probably never left it, first of all, because of income and class and all that fun stuff. But to be able to find someone, be interested in them, start a conversation, and begin into a relationship with them. And they might be across the world.
Mhm.
They might be the other expert in the town down the street that you wouldn't have walked to.
Yeah.
I never heard about them. We also get to see a lot about each other that initially, if I meet you in real life, I don't know. I don't see your picture of your kids or your dog or your house or what you do. Those are questions I would have to ask. But if I see you on social media, you can post that on your profile, even on a dating profile. I can get a glimpse into who you are, what do we have in common, what am I intrigued by. So I think that's very valuable. I think what's really bad about it, what's harmful and hard about it is I have access to everybody. So if I meet you in the club and I talk to you in the club, we have a moment. And I'm only talking to you in the club while I'm talking to you. But online, I can talk to you and have in another window another great conversation,
Yeah.
and in another page on another profile on another have another, and then in my text messages I have another conversation. It's like, how do you focus?
I guess the cream rises to the top.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
hopefully,
hopefully. No,
hopefully.
you're right. I think online dating, I mean, we all have the same challenges, I feel like, but I do agree. The good part is it exposes you and it introduces you to people that you would never really meet in your normal day-to-day life. So that's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had posted questions on my social media, and the people have spoken and they
Come on,
want to know.
people.
Someone said, is it safe to assume that a person is a catfish when they want to use WhatsApp instead of exchanging phone numbers? What do you think?
Just off that information, I'm going to say it's probable, but not promising.
Right.
Because I also know people internationally use WhatsApp. It's not so American, not so LA, not so Cali, but there are people in Canada that I know in real life that are WhatsAppers.
You're right. So I agree. But then I think this person was talking about like locally.
Yeah. So
That's a little
I
weird.
always try to I try to think of the counter to everything before I go with my first gut. My first gut says it's probable, it's weird for sure, um, but I wouldn't run right away. I'd have questions. If I felt safe going into the WhatsApp app, I'd have questions like, "Where are you from?
Mhm.
Um, what is it about this app that you like to use? Like,
Yeah.
why WhatsApp and not text, especially if we're both on Apple devices, like the blue
Right.
bubbles, right?" I would ask questions like where and why, because WhatsApp is a
Do you
culture,
have enemies?
right? Like, are you afraid of what's going on here? I block more things on WhatsApp than I use WhatsApp.
Yeah. Have you seen the Netflix? What is that called?
Yes.
The swindler, the
The
online.
swindler.
He was like, I
Yes.
have enemies.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I agree with you. I think that I would wonder why, but
Yeah.
maybe they've had bad experiences exchanging numbers. I don't know. Or maybe it's safety reasons. As a woman,
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine,
Yep.
exchanging, preferring
Phone
what's,
number is a
yeah.
lot, right? Like safety. I
Hmm.
have privilege because I'm a man that most people can't pick me up and like do what they want to me, right? I'm not even thinking of that, but
Yeah.
I would look at you and go, "Huh, I see why you would want to use WhatsApp first as a like a let's get off the app to talk.
Hmm.
Let's talk more, but I'm not ready to give you my phone number."
Right. Okay. Good answer, Rob. Good answer. Yes. Okay. What another person asked, in your opinion, what are communication red and green flags?
I like the red and green flags. Um, what's a green flag? Someone who's patient in listening, someone who listens to understand.
Amen.
That is a green flag.
Yep.
Um, it makes me wonder, like, where did they learn how to do that? Because that's something that takes training or practice if it's not natural, if it's not what you grew up in your household doing. Listening to understand is, you got to go to the gym for that muscle.
Mm-hmm.
What's a red flag? I think someone who makes everything about them is a huge red flag for me, and something I hear a lot in the work that I do in coaching and consulting. I can tell you a story about my good day, and it triggers you to talk about your good day without listening to my story or asking me further questions. And, you know, they're so quick to switch the channel to the them show,
Mm-hmm.
that I think that's a red flag. Another harmful one is I feel like listening creates a story in my head or a picture in my mind or evokes a feeling, right? So there are some feelings that are triggering, upsetting, saddening, hurtful. Um, and when we feel like that as human beings, it sometimes shifts us into communication tools that are like last resort communication tools, is what I call them.
Mm-hmm.
Yelling is one of those things, right? Sarcasm is one of those things.
You don't like sarcasm?
I use sarcasm,
Oh,
um, but I'm very careful. It's like, do you use salt? Yeah, I use salt. Everybody's not the same salt tolerance, and too much salt can ruin your favorite dish.
of course.
Yeah, but I love sarcasm, but for some people, sarcasm is what they're using as a tool because in their household, in their family, in their experience, people use that as a passive aggressive tool of communication, and it's their last resort.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did they get to that? Like, wouldn't it turn into a red light? Well, they're hitting you with their red flag because something happened. Either this is who they are, or something happened in the communication.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think the red flag that you had mentioned, if someone flips it to them, I agree. But I also wonder if sometimes people, they're an anxious person. So in order to connect, they they want to connect by saying, "Oh, me too," and they want to share their story. So sometimes I think sometimes they may have that may happen, but if it's over and over again, I get what you're saying, where it could be it can register as a red flag.
Yeah.
I also think for me, when I'm talking to somebody, a red flag could be like if I'm asking questions and they're answering and there's no question coming back to me. You know,
Yeah.
I went on a date with this guy and I asked questions, to get to know him. And he was a sweet guy, but all he was at some point, like I was asking him questions, like giving him, like material to like
Mm-hmm.
pull from to like come, chime in. And he just wouldn't like the good thing is he would answer anything I'd ask him. So he didn't hold any secrets. He wasn't weird about my questions. So he'd be open, which is good. But he never asked me anything at all. And so I was just like, you never asked me anything of, and he said, "Oh, you're just, this is a compliment and I appreciate it." But he was like, "Yeah, like I just think like you're beautiful and you're so chill." I love that. Thank you. Like that's I'm flattered, you know, but you don't want to know anything about me. And he was just like, no, I just think like you're really pretty and you're super chill. So for me, that was not something that made me interested just because I would want someone to want to know me beyond just me being him thinking I'm pretty, which again, I'm flattered. But to be honest, I don't look like this all the time. So if you're banking on my face, I don't wake up looking like this, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a whole catfish.
Oh, oh, are you saying makeup is catfishing? That's hilarious.
I mean, the way I do it, I mean, it's sorcery. No, I'm kidding.
That's hilarious. Okay, so what I'm hearing is, right, something that I hear a lot, that men don't have the tools or the confidence to use the tools as well as they need to build real intimacy. He was banking on your look and banking on a vibe that is either naturally there or that you're curating for him, and that's attractive. That's enough, and that's very common.
Yeah.
It's sad. That's why I ask the question sometimes in my caption on IG posts: how important is communication for you in a relationship with a partner? Because it sounds like it's important to you, but it sounds like being a podcast guest is okay for him, but he doesn't want to be a host. He just wants to answer questions.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get it. No, 1000%. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's challenging for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next question is how long does texting or messaging go back and forth before you should meet somebody? I have my opinion. You go first.
Shoot. As soon as possible is the answer. I would click if it was multiple choice. As soon as
Really?
possible. As soon as we both have the ability to set aside some time. I'm busy as heck. So what I would prescribe for myself is probably not what I would prescribe for someone who doesn't have the things on the plate and the workload that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I think too much time, especially if you're in the same city and not long distance, could be like 2 weeks. If in 2 weeks of exchanging information and texting and phone call and FaceTime, we can't figure out how to get in physical space together,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's supposed to happen after that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think okay, so I'm the person who asked this. I know this person, and they're the type that they like, you know, I think the challenge for women sometimes, I don't know, maybe other women prefer to meet ASAP, like, hey, how's it going? Let's meet. Let's get it out of the way to see if we jam.
Let's not waste time. Yeah.
Let's not waste time. So that's the, you know, there's that. And then there's other people where they're like, well, at least I want to see if we could communicate and get a vibe going through messaging at the very least before we even meet so that we don't waste each other's time that way.
Yeah. That's don't waste time too.
Right. Um, I don't know. In my experience, if, you know, some people say, oh, I'm better in person. But in my experience, if there's no connection through messaging or phone, usually there's no connection in person. So I don't know. I feel like it could go both ways. And then some people say, oh, no, someone is completely different in person versus messaging. But I
Some
guess
people
it
are
comes,
way more attractive too in person than via messaging.
yeah. So I think it could go both ways. I think it comes down to comfort level. But for me, in my experience, I'd like to get them to know them a little bit more. I mean, we don't have to drag it out, but if they're like, hey, what's up? Hi, let's hang out. I'm like, ooh, what if I'm a serial killer? You don't know
Yeah.
that.
Well, don't go to the cereal aisle because there's going to be some killing going on there. But yeah, what if you are a serial killer and we go in the middle of the day to a park next to the police station or the sheriff's station?
Oh my
Like,
God.
you're less likely to murder me there.
Yeah,
Just
that's good.
like you're less likely to be the super mean version of yourself at the coffee shop or the skating rink where there's other people, different types of people, and we can just see what the vibe is.
That's, I like the, next time I'll suggest meeting in the park next to the police station.
Mm-hmm. Why are you uncomfortable? Uh-oh, did I hit a red flag for you? You don't like the
Like,
popo?
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
How did you become so comfortable with being so vulnerable? Was it something that you grew up with?
Hmm.
Because you said it's not natural, right? For most
It's not.
men,
I grew up with older
people, I would
parents,
say.
and I think I desired to know more. And my parents' generation, and my parents specifically, were like, we don't tell everything. It's none of your business. Stay in a child's place. Very black people stuff like, hey, this is not your business. Um, so I feel like I missed stories that I could have learned from, and stories that have helped me understand and maybe respect and love and appreciate more. So I think it were some early decisions to just be vulnerable and honest as well as I can. I can always do better. And then the work that I do, I found using vulnerability as a tool to help other people open up. So sharing stories about my experiences, my harm, my trauma, my challenge, my struggle, my goal, my dream, my like, my dislike, helps other people, especially if there's not someone else in the room to take us into that vulnerable place. I call it deeper water. So you might be a phenomenal swimmer, swim team, lifeguard level, water covered. But if I'm at the pool or at the beach and I'm just in my swimsuit, that might be like, that's a victory for me, right?
Mhm.
So how do I get in the water? Get a little comfortable, maybe a little challenge, maybe some encouragement, maybe some play. But somebody else is potentially going to be in the water with me. And that usually takes you being more vulnerable because you're comfortable and I feel safe with you.
Mhm.
So I use that vulnerability like that. And it also feels good for me. It's healing for me.
That's really rare to hear. And I think that's so awesome.
Thank you.
I think it is one of the challenges with dating is the between two people, everyone is trying to be the cooler person and everyone wants a deeper connection, but they're afraid to show their cards first. So everything stays very surface level. And I think that's in professional relationships too. You know, everyone
Mhm.
just wants to be seen, perceived a certain way.
Yeah. I have a question on my forced choices game where it's like, I forget how I asked it because I ask it different ways, but one version is, who do you believe has more power? The person that cares the most or the person that cares the least? And it's an interesting question because, like,
What do
in
you
deep,
think?
I think the person that cares the most has the most potential power, but I think the person that cares the least has the most control.
Hmm.
The person that's willing to break up, quit, walk away, throw their hands up, throw everything away. That person can cause pause to the person who is deeply caring, deeply committed, deeply invested. Very scary. But the person that cares the most can change the life of the other person, the life of the relationship through care. Nothing works like love. So there's more potential power, right? But
Yeah.
the person that cares the least has a lot of control.
Yeah. I agree. I like that question.
Hey, thanks. I
We're
think it's
gonna keep we're gonna
coming going.
huh?
I think it's coming out on the next one.
I like it. I'm gonna carry everyone listening should open up his social media, his TikTok and his Instagram ready on deck when you guys go out and hang out with anybody, just to pop up questions to ask if you guys run into
Yeah.
a wall. Okay, so I know this podcast will probably not be out by May 6th, but I just wanted to tell everyone that May 6th, you actually are hosting a speed date game night mixer in
Mm-hmm.
LA. And I just wanted to talk about it because you had mentioned that if you miss this one, there will be an upcoming one. So just
Yeah.
in case anyone who is interested, please tell us how you are putting this together and how you are vetting these people and how they
Yeah.
differ from any other speed date night.
Have you ever been on speed date?
No.
Okay. It's an interesting thing.
Have
I
you?
like, yeah, I've done speed dating before.
How did you like it?
Eh, I don't think it was well done.
Mm.
I think the room matters, which is why it's being curated the way it's being curated with me and my team. After I get off this podcast, I have a couple conversations with people to check them out, have them check out what we're going to do and find out what they're interested in and see if they should be in this room with these people. Because
Mm.
if you go to a speed dating event and it's all women, but you're looking for a man,
That's true.
if I go to a speed dating event and I'm bisexual or gay or lesbian and it's everybody's heterosexual,
Yeah.
if I'm attracted to short, funny moms already, but no one checked to see if any of those people are coming,
That's true.
it's going to be a weird event, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like on online dating profiles like eHarmony and some of them, you get to click, what do you like? What are you looking for? What was your last relationship? And from some of that information, I'll invite them to a conversation. And then from that conversation, if it's a good fit for who's already kind of being curated to be in this room on the 6th or the next time, I'll invite them to buy a ticket if they can be there on time and they're interested in being in there, and I answer their questions and all that fun stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to have a speed dating event where it's called 7 First Dates. You'll go on 7 speed dates.
And how long is the speed per 7 dates?
You have to be there.
Oh,
It's very quick.
okay.
It's very quick. The speed dating event that I went to was like 3 minutes. We'll probably be a little longer than that, but I don't want to give it away. And there'll be random people in front of you. You don't get to pick who's in front of you. It's going to be facilitated by me and supported by my team. And what I think that provides is an opportunity to talk to people you probably wouldn't pick to talk to, and also create moments of conversation that aren't going to be forced on you or the other person. It's just, hey, talk to this person. Okay, cool. Now talk to that person. All right, here's another person. Talk to this person, which may or may not put you in front of the person that you caught eyes with or find attractive or want to talk to, which is where the game night part comes into play. I think you get to go on a date there and play Uno or Guess Who or Phase 10 or Connect 4 or Jenga or Tic-Tac-Toe or chess or dominoes or cards or twisters in the room. but I think it's a fun way to spend time together and then also have conversation that's not based on sit in front of me and ask me questions. Then I'm gonna ask you a question. You ask me a question. I ask you. Time's up. We can slowly have moments. So
I like it.
that's what's going to happen. We're going to have speed dating. And then if, let's say, for example, you didn't like anybody that you sat in front of, but you saw someone you liked, you'll figure out a way to play games with them.
Hmm.
If you don't, you'll play games with somebody. And that's also a new person that you probably would have never met at the grocery store or the gym or school or work, which is why you should buy a ticket to an event like this, right? Like, it's not online dating. You will talk to people.
I like it. I mean, it does sound like you're right. Like the ones that you just mentioned where they didn't look through the files to see what they were looking for. I mean, yours sounds very unique and curated very mindfully. So if you guys are interested in speed dating experiences, please look Rob Howard up on his website. Actually, can you share with us all the websites and all the platforms where we could find all of your amazing?
If you are on TikTok, Instagram, I don't really post to Facebook that much, but there's a Facebook, YouTube. It is Mr. Howard 365 because I'm me 365 days a year.
That's right.
Grinding every day. I posted every day for over a year. Just took a break, so I'm getting back today. On LinkedIn, I think it's also Mr. Howard 365.
Okay.
And then my website is mrhoward365.com. And from there, you can get more information, buy merch, and get connected to the socials.
And he has really cute merch. I love like you have
Yay.
sweaters says rare.
Yeah.
And what another shirt that
Healing.
says
I got
the one that
too.
left or the one that got away.
The one that got away.
But it's not the one that got away that we think, like
right.
the please explain the one that got away shirt
Yeah, it
or
was
saying.
inspired by a homegirl of mine who is in her 30s and phenomenal and beautiful and no kids, never married. She's a boss and she's glowing up. She's finer probably today than she was 10 years ago. And people who used to be in her DM or in her life or in a relationship with her or in her neighborhood or school are like, I should have married you. I should have locked you down. And some of them say to her, I feel like you're the one that got away. And she's like, I am. But then we had a conversation. It's like, well, it's also about being the one that got away in life. Like I was in a school, I was in a situation, I was in a relationship where these not so good things happened and I got away. And that's awesome and a privilege. And I'm honored and blessed to have that be a part of the story. I got away from something that I should have got away from that everybody doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of all that. It might be a little spice for your ex to see you post that picture in that shirt or run into them in the grocery store with that shirt on, but it also is a conversation starter. All my content and all of my merch is about a revelation of a thought or to start a conversation.
Yeah, I love that. When I saw what the one that got away meant more in depth, I was like, that is so cool.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm working. I'm working.
You are working 365, okay,
365.
Mr. Working all the time. Okay, so I think that's all we have for today. Thank you so much,
Wait, can I
Mr.
ask you questions?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
please.
because we're here and I'm here for questions, but I have questions.
Okay,
Um,
please.
how
I
did you
get
start?
nervous.
It's all good. I'm gonna make it easy. I'll
Okay.
ask you three simple, easy ones, and then we can
Okay.
get out of here. Um, what started you on your podcasting journey?
Well, um, I started, well, it's always been an idea of mine, but I've always had anxiety and insecurity about actually doing it because putting yourself out there is always scary. But I do enjoy conversations and I like learning about people. Um, Originally, I wanted to do broadcasting. And then, long story short, I got into therapy and the whole therapy journey took over. And so this has always been something that's been on the back of my mind. And I love that I get to connect with people. Like I reached out to you, and you're a stranger in social media, but now I consider like I I met Rob. He's someone that I got
Yeah.
to get to know. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start a podcast. Screw it, F it. If I don't start now, I'll never do it. And so I was like, okay, let's give it a try. And so my original thought was I wanted to do a podcast that broke down the stereotype that therapists have it all put together. We're perfect. We're not. We have more tools than the average Joe, but when it comes down to life and emotions, we feel them all and we make the same poor choices as everybody else,
Yeah. Yeah. We're not, we're people. I'm
Yeah.
not a therapist, but we are people.
Yes. But then as I started going, I think, I don't know, my interest in the conversations that I had with people just evolved. So I started a series called like How to Be Brave because I don't think that I am a very brave person. Um, so I started talking to people that I admired for braving through things in their life that might have been challenging, losing a spouse, losing a parent, pivoting careers, braving through different industries that I find is challenging. And then like the conversations just like evolved over into like just talking to people that inspired me, that had such a deep understanding for love and dating and relationships. So I think it just snowballed into like having conversations that, I don't know, spark joy for me. And I hope it sparks joy for other people as well.
That's really good.
Yeah.
How did you get this comfortable on camera?
Oh, I'm not comfortable. I am, I feel like I'm very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
But the only reason why I just wanted to do audio in the beginning. And it's weird because I feel like it's different. If I did broadcasting, I feel like I would be hired into a company who knew what they were doing, So it would be different. But because I'm doing a podcast and I'm doing the video on my own, there is a sense of insecurity for me because I'm wondering, am I doing this correctly? Yada, yada. And people are judging,
Hmm.
whatever, like so much is in my head. But the only reason I started doing video because they said that video is better when it's edition with audio option. So
Yeah.
here I am doing videos.
Video is king. So the question that I was asking is like, how did you get this comfortable? How did you get here? Like, have you taken classes? Are you avoiding looking at yourself unless somebody else edits you and just do it anyway? Do it uncomfortable? Like, how did you get this comfortable?
I think I just got this comfortable. I did take a few classes back in the day, but I think maybe I got here just because I have to, and
Mm-hmm.
I just have to force myself to talk on
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I'm 100% comfortable, but I think I will always have. I think like Gary Vee said, like your first 50 or 100 is going to be shitty, but you're not going to get better until you get past the 50 to 100. So just keep on pushing it out until you get there, and then keep evolving and growing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to have the courage to push myself through the camera discomfort.
Yeah. Here's my third and final question. What is the dream for this? What is the dream?
The dream? I mean, the dream would be for me to do this and get paid
Mm.
and connect with people and have these conversations and actually get paid to do it.
I
Isn't
have
that
some
the dream?
ideas.
You do?
We'll talk off pod. We'll
Okay.
talk off pod. I have some ideas. Your therapy, um, education, skill set, and passion is something that is super valuable. And I would love to talk to you more about how we could partner and team up.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be offering in LA specifically some like workshops on how to get comfortable talking to people, and also one for speaking on camera for content. And monetizing your passion is another thing that I'm working on, because
Oh
I've
my,
monetized mine and it's an income stream for real. It's almost to the point where it's like competing with my main gig entrepreneurial. This other
really?
thing could year salary versus year income. Yeah.
That is so
So
cool.
stay tuned. We'll have more to come for us.
Ding.
Ding. Yeah.
Do you
That's
have a
good.
ding? Do you have a
Yeah.
ding sound? Yes.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Any more questions for me?
I have a million questions.
I'm the one asking the questions. So when people ask me the questions, I'm like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, but it's good. Now you know what it feels like to be on the other side. So it's all good. Um, I have a million questions, but what I hoped with you being okay with me asking you questions, my hope was not only can I get to know you a little bit, but maybe I can ask a question that your audience will learn something about you, and audience will be able to support you on, or maybe will encourage them on their journey, because there's probably another you in your audience. There's probably at least one person who is like, I got an idea. I'm not ready to get on camera yet. I got an idea, but I don't even know how to start.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. And
That's me. I feel like that's my little voice.
yeah, so when you spoke that truth, you spoke to another you, right? Like every good person at something had a first day, had a first month, had a first year, had a first 2 years,
Yeah.
right? Had a first video, had a first podcast, all that stuff. So I think sometimes we're comparing ourselves to other people that we look up to and
Mhm.
inspires us, but that's not a fair comparison. That person is where they are in their journey, and we are either an idea or beginning stage. They're not going to be what we do. It's not going to
Yeah.
be apples to apples. So that was what my hope was. I have a million questions, but I'll ask you way more later. I
Okay.
got one silly icebreaker that could help your
Yeah.
audience get to know you a little bit better. Are you open?
Okay.
It's just a
Let's do
silly one.
it.
Um, which one I want to use? What is your favorite? Like, if you had to eat a food to compete in a food eating competition, and you're going to try to really win by eating all of this thing really, really quickly against other people who are going to eat it too, what is the food that you would use to compete in a food eating competition?
Okay. So are we thinking about okay, so when you're asking me that question, I'm like, am I thinking about if carbs and calories was not an issue?
You just want to win. You want to win. You want to win. Now, whether
I
or
do
not
want to
you
win.
look good in a bikini right afterwards, that's your choice.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you competing in that and then winning and then be like, well, I'm still going or I'm just not going to go? But it's to win. You're competing to win.
To win, shoot. Maybe I could throw down a lot of uh, sushi, like sashimi without the rice, because then I could guarantee I could throw down a lot of that.
There we go.
How
You are
about you?
you're entered in chicken wings, flats,
Oh,
flats
I'm wing
for
person. I'm
sure.
a drum person.
You're a drum.
Yeah.
Much respect. You know what I'm saying? If we had a whole platter, we could both get out and it wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
feel offensive if you ate yours and I ate mine.
Mm-hmm.
But my real favorite thing is teriyaki chicken bowl, no veggies. If there
Ah,
was a teriyaki chicken bowl battle,
you kill it.
this hands down, I'm gonna win that.
Okay, where's the best teriyaki bowl? In the
Um,
city of
in
Inglewood or LA?
oh man, Sachi's teriyaki is Inglewood, which is like Slauson and Overhill. But Rascals in
Mm.
Gardena and Artesia ish. There's
Okay,
two
I'll
that I
write that
know of.
down.
There's one in Long Beach, Rascals. Delicious. They also have really good Chinese chicken salad, which I'm not a person that eats that because I'm a very weird eater. But their teriyaki bowl, I will drive over there to go get it.
Really?
Yeah, there's one on Artesia off the 110. There's one by Bishop Montgomery Gardena Torrance, and then there's one in Long Beach that I know about. Really, really good teriyaki chicken bowl.
Okay, teriyaki. Don't come for Rob with the
No,
teriyaki bowl.
I'm undefeated.
Well, that is so cool. Any other questions, Rob?
I always, I always have a million
Oh, you
questions,
have a million
but
questions.
I'll pause my questions and continue offline with you on brainstorming on what we can do to support each other and help you get to your goals and my goals and help people and all the fun stuff.
That is so awesome. You guys, thank you for hanging out with Rob and I. Whoop, whoop. If you can see Rob, if you're tuning in with audio, Rob is doing a little dance. I'm
I'm
joining
doing
him
a
with
little
a little
dance.
dance.
It's my car dance. When I'm in my car, it's just here. Red lights.
If you guys haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, and share the pod. Tune in next time. Bye.
Bye.